Good afternoon, distinguished colleagues. My name is James Akinola, and I want to welcome you to DH 2.0 Symposium. I am going to be the coordinator, or if you like, say moderator for this event. Before we go on, we exercise some patience for more people to join, and because just like I experienced, I had a little challenge with the internet connection. So we know that a whole lot of people might also be experiencing that. So we do that.
I'm fine. How are you?
So I would like to advise that we mute ourselves so that there won't be so much interruptions with the program. Please don't forget to mute yourself so that there won't be interruption. At least we'll be able to minimize the interruptions. Okay, we have to mute everybody, I guess. Okay, we want to stay strictly with our time, and we want to abide by it so that we can achieve all that we need to achieve within this short time. We have a list of people who will Please, let's exercise some patience. Some of the people who have registered before, they are telling us that they couldn't enter. So we have to fix them so that they can get in. Then we can start properly. Thank you.
Okay, if you come next time, you bring the
Hatola.
Okay, I think we can go on with the program now. We are waiting for some people, and we're trying to sort out challenges that are being experienced by some of our people, and then we seem to have been able to resolve some of them now. We want to please everybody to please keep to the rules of engagement in virtual discussion like this, or in virtual meeting like this. It is very important that we respect mutual privacy, and it is very important that we keep our comments decent, and then we ensure that when we are given the opportunity to talk, we will be able to keep it simple and short. Before we go on, I need to quickly get us familiar with some of the things that we are prepared for the program. Of course, this program is organized by the Center for Digital Humanities, University of Lagos, and Digital Humanities Association of Nigeria. It is one of the planned quarterly activities that we believe can help towards promoting and expanding DA scholarship in this part of the world. More on this will be told us by the convener himself, who is Professor Tunde Opedi, University of Lagos. All right. So without much ado, I think we are going to listen to the opening speech by Professor Opedi right now.
Yeah, thank you, James. Can we, may we know how many we have now online? Because we need to look at number registered and those who are online now so that we don't leave people behind.
So presently we have 45 participants now.
45. Can we hit 50 and before we start?
Well, because of our time and the schedule, okay. I don't know.
Okay. It's
so,
fine, no problem.
So can you please put on your video, Professor Opedi?
I will do that. Just a minute. I'll do that. I'm trying to see. I'm also attending to problems here. So people have been. Yeah, so, I'm attending to queries. People have been, asking me to provide information.
I want to do
that.
Okay. So while we are waiting, I want to share the screen from the website so that we know what today's task will look like. Just a moment. So, of course, it is called DH 2.0 Symposium. And then by the time we listen to convener, we'll get to know what the idea of 2.0 is about. Okay, so people are bombarding me with calls. Some people want to come in and they couldn't come in again. And I don't know, I will have to pause a bit and then attend to them so that they can be a part of this.
Is it possible for you to allow Felix to handle some of the issues that may be arising from?
Yes, I have already assigned that. So, but some of them don't have his contact. Some of the participants don't have his contact.
Is there a way you can share that with them very quickly?
Okay, I will see to that.
Yeah, so that we can set the ball rolling immediately. Sorry, some of my colleagues at University of Lagos are trying to connect and they are having some issues, so we need to sort that out. And
okay.
I will start immediately once I'm done with handling their cases here.
Okay, so let me advise that anyone who probably has come in before and has been logged out of one thing or the other, just disconnect close your Zoom and then start again. Then you should be able to connect. So when you close it and start again, you will be able to connect. So, so let me just say that we have our program spread out, and then we have participants not only from Nigeria, and I would say from all over the world, as many as can join us. So this is a program, and then we are going to be listening to the convener very shortly, and then we have Ingwe from Cameroon to talk to us. Then after the convener speech, we are going to allow questions and answers. I want to plead that if you have questions, you'll be allowed to ask your question, but I don't know if that is not going to be too rowdy. Perhaps you type your question, but if you want to if you prefer to say your question, perhaps you have to use the reaction key showing that you are raising up your hand. Then we unmute you so that you can ask your question. And then we hope that you'll be able to get answer to some of them.
James, sorry, can you look at the chat? Can you look at the chat room? You have some question there.
Okay.
Look at the chat room.
Okay.
So that you can resolve their problem for them, please.
All right. Okay. So I want to stop the share and I'll come back to that.
So can you allow me to share my screen?
Okay, you can go on, Prof.
Okay. Can you confirm whether you can see my presentation?
Yes, Prof. We can from here.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. Well, let me warmly welcome all of you to this virtual symposium today. And then I must thank James Akinola, who has been the technical brain behind putting this together. And let me also, I believe James Yeku is online. Dr. Yeku.
Yes, I'm here.
From the US, thank you very much. Yes, I just want to acknowledge you that you are there. And then to also say that your last symposium actually inspired us. And really appreciate that. And then we're also trying to see how we can sustain this kind of interaction and discussion in this part of the world. Okay, so colleagues, I want to welcome you once again. Those who have been with us, those who have attended summer school in Lagos, and those who have been part of the initiative we have been pushing in Lagos, our modest effort to contribute to DH, development in Nigeria and Africa. I welcome all of you from all over the world who are joining us today, and I hope that this very program we are trying to put together will be sustainable, and then this very first one we are having today will be of benefit very hugely to all of us. Now, what we're doing is very simple. Just introduce the program and then just run through some key points that I want, especially those who are coming for the very first time to DH, because I'm aware that some of our junior colleagues are joining us. A number of them are getting to know DH for the very first time. So for the experts who are in the house and those who are the guru, please just permit me to just go very slowly and very in a simple way, so that those who are coming in for the very first time, they are coming across DH for the first time, they can actually get along very easily, and then be able to get to know what we are doing, and be able to flow when we get to the question time. Okay. So basically, when we talk about digital humanities, is something that's already going out there in the West. We all understand and we all agree that this is a different age in which we find ourselves. There is a revolution going on, affecting virtually every aspect of our lives, and we cannot afford to be left behind. Now, when we talk about digital humanities, basically, we are actually looking at a situation where, the digital technologies now present us with opportunities, excuse me, to deploy tools that will promote greater opportunities, greater openness, and greater productivity with translational and collaborative impact towards meaningful contribution to national and global development. Now, you see, when we begin to apply technology to what we do in the humanities, we are going to actually change the narrative. Before now, people used to think that, oh, we are not doing anything, they're not hearing our voices, they don't understand, what we are doing. We are not contributing to national and global development. But thankfully, we now have this technology that can actually transform and reconfigure what we do. And so, I mean, this age has been described as the fourth industrial revolution, okay? It's the age of big data. And of course, when we talk about DH, we cannot leave out big data as the core of DH projects. I mean, because you are dealing with, you know, very huge data that can now be processed digitally by technology. And so you don't need to do manual, you know, counting of your you know, frequency patterns in your data, or trying to transform the you know, static data, you know, manually. Okay. Now we have software, an application that can do that very easily for us and very quickly and very objectively. Okay. So there are two key words for those who are coming for the first time. There are two key words that are important in this whole business: digital and humanities. Okay. It's just an emerging field, you know, a kind of a break away from the centuries-old traditional and analogic approaches that trademark our professional and academic domains in the human sciences. Okay, but thankfully we now have something that can change what we are doing. Digital derives its virtues and value from the availability of a range of new technologies. Basically, DH explores the emergence and use of these technologies and their impact on scholarship, on cultures, and on society. In fact, no discipline in the arts or in the humanities and social sciences, you know, can be immune from the impact of technology. So whatever your background, you're coming from philosophy, from history, from languages, from literature, you can actually fit into what we do in digital humanities. Okay, so it talks about the intersection of computing, research, and teaching in the fields of the humanities. Therefore, in a wider sense, DH can be understood as an umbrella term for a number of different activities that surround technology and humanities scholarship, like data mining, born digital preservation, visualization, and many others. Okay, at its core, this humanities is more akin to a common methodological outlook than an investment in any one specific set of texts or even technology. You know, scholars have different ways of looking at DH, but whatever the, you know, different perspective, there is something that unites all of us: the importance, okay, the relevance of applying technology to what we do in the humanities. That's a unifying, you know, thread in all this discussion and the debate. Okay, so one other thing is that you have, you know, the opportunity to collaborate, to argue, you know, and then to present our research. Of course, to make our research open. Okay, and, you know, to be able to allow, you know, other scholarly communities to criticize and also interrogate what we do. Okay, it's not just, so when we talk about digital humanities, you know, this scholar says it addresses and engages disparate subject matters across media, language, location, and history. But however heterogeneous it is, digital humanities is unified. Now you take note of that. It's unified by its emphasis on making, connecting, interpreting, and collaborating. And that's the joy of what we are doing today, that from different parts of the world, we can collaborate, we can connect, and we can investigate issues that we have of phenomena in the humanities. DH value collaboration, plurality, investigation of human culture, and the destruction of and reflection on traditional practices. And the concern with not just the use of this technology for humanity project, but how the use of this technology for humanity project changes the user's experience. That's very important. So we are not just trying to, you know, debate, argue here, but our main objective is how do we benefit society? How will our work, our projects, how will it make some transformation in society where we live? Okay, how do we change the way things are done? Okay, through our own humanity background and experience and training. Okay, by now adding technology to it, we're able to make, you know, more impact in society. It also talks about, you know, you apply computational, you know, method to do research. Okay, so get ready for some of us who are just coming and afresh. You may need to learn some, computer programming, application, so that you can be able to function very well when you come into DH project and DH, initiatives. Now, let me just quickly pick some important concepts in digital humanities. Number one, digital culture. Now, it just describes the idea that technology and the internet significantly shape the way we interact, we behave, we think, and communicate as human beings in a societal setting. It is a product of pervasive technology and limitless access to information. Okay, it's also seen as the knowledge, refer to the knowledge, the beliefs, and the parts of people interacting on digital networks that recreate, please underline that word, that recreates. So what we are trying to do by applying technology to what we do is to recreate, okay? Recreate tangible work culture and create new strains of cultural thought and practices so that, our audiences can benefit actually from our work, okay? So we are looking at cultural thought, practices native to digital network, and then we are using, digital technology to transform that. Now, another concept you are likely to be coming across very frequently in DHUB digital scholarship, okay, is the use of digital. It's just simply the use of digital evidence, method of inquiry, research, publication, and preservation to achieve scholarly and research goals. It encompasses scholarly communication using digital media and research on digital media, okay? It's more than just using information and communication technology to research, to teach and collaborate, but it is embracing the open values, ideology, and potential of technology born of peer-to-peer networking and wiki ways of working in order to benefit both the academia and the society. So you can see what we are talking, the emphasis is more on how do we benefit society? How do we make our work relevant, okay, to our communities, okay? The time has come that those of us in the humanities will begin to think very critically and deeply on how are we making impact, okay? Look at COVID-19. Is there no way we can contribute? No, we can contribute, we can actually make impact, okay? For instance, now we are looking at the use of social media now for public health awareness in Nigeria, in Lagos, okay? That's a project that you can work on, okay? And you monitor and you assess how social media is impacting, is transforming the way, health officials are connecting to the citizen, and what are the impacts of their, their activities. So those are things that we can begin to look at. Now, two other concepts I will look at before I move to the next point is digitalization and digitization, okay? People do often confuse these two concepts. Now, when we talk about digitalization, okay, we are referring to more than the technical transfer of analog information and behavior pattern to our digital format. It is fundamentally, the process of changing the way knowledge is disseminated and, and knowledge is acquired. And actually, this has to do more with organization, okay, in which an organization, an institution, a university, polytechnic, and you are transforming all your analog document, written document, you are transforming them into digital format, okay, that's digitalization. Now, the one that concerns us very closely is digitization. Now, you are going to discover that in DH, digitization is a very central project that many of us are getting involved in, or we get involved in. Now, this is taken as the process of transforming non-bound digital materials, that is manuscript, for instance, written manuscript that's non-bound, analog data, you've gone out, you've recorded your subject on the field, and then you need to transcribe that and translate that into digital form, okay? And you process them in a format that the computer can read, okay? So that's the essence of digitization, that the computer or whatever technology you are using can read, can code, and that can transform and can interpret the information you have in that document, okay? So there's a scholar that actually, you know, try to define the two and then look at them, you know, juxtapose in a juxtaposed way. He said digitization is an organization of several and diverse social life sphere via digital communication technology, whereas digitization is a conversion of analog information into digital form. So it's very important that we understand those two concepts. Now, let me now look at how DH is looked at from institutional perspective. Now, we're not talking about when you set up a Digital Humanities Center, what does it involve? Okay, a Digital Humanities Center is an entity where new media and technology are used for humanity-based research, for teaching, for intellectual engagement, and for experimentation. The goals of the center are to further, to expand humanity scholarship, to create new forms of knowledge, to explore technology impact on humanity-based discipline. To accomplish this goal, a Digital Humanities Center can undertake some or the following activities. You know, you talk about teaching, you talk about creating tools, talk about building digital collection, analyzing humanity collections, managing research process, and, you know, setting up workshop and courses, offering lectures and programs, conferences, and you have your, you know, your staff working with you, and then you provide collegial support, collaborating with other people, you know, within your community and outside your community. So if you are thinking of setting up a DH center, these are things you must put in perspective, or you must make sure you are taking care of, okay? So you have other details there. I won't be able to go through that because of my time. Now, why is DH important to us as African scholars? Okay. Now, for those of us doing research in Africa, or you are doing Africa-related projects, okay, it provides the best platform to do more impactful, globalized, and enduring research work. We now have access to new technologies and digital methodology that can simplify the stressful process of traditional approaches. More importantly, the collaborative and translational dimension in DH enables researchers in different parts of the world working on projects in Africa or in Africa to interconnect, to access funding opportunities, and then to access funding opportunities, and then to make impact in our communities. Now, I won't have the time to look at the historical perspective, but you'll get the slide later. Okay, how DH started and the various, you know, epoch or the stages of development in DH. We have that, you know, documented or summarized here. But more importantly, we are looking at the era of the internet now, where we find ourselves. It is called the DH movement. This was the time that the DH actually, you know, gained the muzzle, okay, and the widespread impact that we are now enjoying today. And so it's important we take note of that. Now, in the early stage of its development, individual scholars within the arts and humanities were making use of computer-assisted techniques in their works to create corpus, to do text analysis, to compile words and patterns in language and in literature. But now, people are getting into big data you know, projects, and they're looking at something bigger than just, you know, text analysis, okay? Now, people are now looking at the affordances that technology that now make available to us to do our project. DH differentiate the different use of computer as a tool for dissemination and not the same as embedding computer-assisted tools and techniques within the methodology and ideology of arts and the humanities. Okay, so it's different from you are using computer. It's different from, you know, what we are doing when we talk about DH. So we have DH as online presence and DH as analysis. Okay, so we have scholars have done quite a lot of work in different areas of that. So in corporal analysis, in digitization. Now we have some projects all over the world, and I'm happy that we have some of our colleagues from Europe and from the US online with us. They may be able to share their experience with us on the project they are working on. But we have quite a number of projects going on all around the world. In fact, I think the University of London makes millions of pounds in research revenue from DH every year. So as DH scholars, we can actually help our university to make money by getting into projects that, you know, can attract funding to our university. And of course, when you are doing that, you know, your superior will actually, you know, tend to love you more, and then you are making impact. Okay, so we have some of the early work in curation, in sharing, in remediation of print materials, creation of web-based resources that can help people to search and get material from them. Okay, so these are some of the things that we need to keep in mind as we go to our discussion today. Now, we have some of these methodologies. You can see that on the screen. I won't go into detail. So how you can collect your data in DH, some of the things you need to do, how you can interpret your data, the applications that are available, and the things you can do with them, okay? Now, let me quickly now talk about the future of DH and our faith, okay? Now, that is why it's important that for all of us who are in the humanities or social sciences, we must understand that the future of our discipline just lies with the use of technology. There is no escaping. There is no running away from it. There's no denying the facts. Okay, so this scholar says digital technologies are not going away anytime soon. So, although DH has had a rapid swell, it will remain essential that we investigate, we use and experiment with technology over the coming decade. So we have a lot of work to do, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. And so that's why we need to get involved in DH projects and DH initiatives in our very university, and we can collaborate to make sure that we are able to push the frontiers of knowledge in DH in Africa, and then we connect with our colleagues all over the world, okay? So possibly what our role? A number of these humanities are going on in different parts of Africa. I acknowledge that. In South Africa, in Cameroon, in Ghana, people are doing quite a lot of work, okay? So, but we still have more to do. It is time we utilize DH platform worldwide to tell our stories. Don't just keep quiet. Don't just remain in your corner. Tell your story. Let people know. Develop a website that people can know what you are doing. You also enlist yourself on DH-related listservs and platforms. For example, AOR, that is Association of Internet Researchers, GoDH, Global Outlook for Digital Humanities. Get involved. Okay, you connect with colleagues and researchers in DH, attend conferences in DH, workshops and summer schools. Invest in yourself by learning simple programming and coding and tools in DH. Now we have an example of a project going on in South Africa. You can see the image there. You have the National Library, you know, trying to digitize newspaper, you know, collection over the years. That's a huge project. At the University of Lagos, we're also doing something similar, trying to digitize some of the manuscript and documents. Now, this is, you know, an example of a research project for those of you in Nigeria. Okay, you have this newspaper, you know, getting destroyed at the National Library, National Archive. Nobody's working on it. You can get funding and digitize this material, and then we can preserve them from getting destroyed, and we are losing that memory, you know, forever. Now, here we have for Center for Digital Humanities, here you have an overview of our activities, okay? Some of the things we are doing in Lagos, and I'm sure you can replicate the same thing wherever you are, you know, wherever you find yourself, you can replicate the same thing. Okay, that's our website in which you can actually visit us. And now, this is one of our success stories. For some of you may still remember this event. That was ADHO 2020 last year. Actually, some of our colleagues that attended the Lagos Summer School in Digital Humanities were, you know, they competed for the scholarship to attend the workshop and the conference in Netherlands. So we have 4 of them here. You know, when we took that photograph in Netherlands, that's the lighting. Then after that, we now move to Utrecht for the main conference. Okay, here you have them again. Okay, so some of the projects we are doing in Lagos, you have them there. Corpus of Nigeria New Media Discourse, Corpus of Nigeria Literary Discourse. We are supporting an online learning platform. We are trying to do corpus of digital public health communication. I just mentioned that. We are looking at corpus of digital political discourse in Nigeria. For some of you that may know, we just got a grant from TED Fund to do our projects on political discourse, digital political discourse in Nigeria. So these are things we can do from a different corner wherever you are. Then we're also looking at the LITED Lagos, digital depiction of Lagos City in literary works. Now, these are possible projects, my dear colleagues and ladies and gentlemen. These are suggestions of things you can do anywhere you find yourself. You can digitize cultural heritage and cultural artifacts. You can construct digital corpora of historical and literary documents or manuscript. You can do this collection of African women writers, you know. You can do digital collection of struggle for self-determination or independence in Africa, you know, based on your own country or your state. You can do an online repository of colonial experience in African states. You can document stories of civil war or conflict in your state, in your country. You can work on endangered languages. You can work on oral narrative and performances. You can do collection on literary based work. And you can even do image database of medieval and Renaissance manuscripts in Africa. You can do online archive for African poems. You can do public humanities and data, you know, social data. You know, we have quite a lot. It is just endless. The possibilities are endless indeed. And therefore, I challenge you, my dear colleagues, get involved, do something, and I'm sure we'll move ahead. Thank you very much for your attention. Over to you, James.
Thank you very much, Professor Okpedi. For many of us who probably are getting the first exposure to this, we can attest to the fact that this is a very laudable thing that everyone should come along. Prof, can you please close your screen from being shared?
Just a minute. Sorry.
Okay, so this is a thing that everyone needs to come along with, and then I'm so sure that you've been able to pick some points from this. Without wasting much of our time, I will give opportunities to people to ask questions, but this is how we do it. You just signify that you want to ask a question, then we enable you from being muted and you can ask your question. We'll do that in the next 5-6 minutes, then we'll move to the next.
Now, James, can you, now we have to now allow our panel to respond to questions. So I'm not going to be the only one to respond. Now we have Dr. In fact, you did introduce our colleagues, the presenters.
Well, because the network made us to run out of time and we didn't start on time. So can I do that now?
We have Dr. James Yeku from the US. We have Dr. Emmanuel Ungwe from Cameroon. We have other, experts in the field who are here. And so they are going to provide answer to your questions. So please feel free to ask your question. And then, we can just handle that. Thank you very much.
Okay. So thank you. Just like you have heard, I can see Bello Abiodun signifying physically that he wants to ask a question. But I want to add that we still have people who have volunteered to be on this panel. We have Leah John from South Africa. We also have James Richard Aja from Cross River, Port Harcourt, and Walia Joanna from Calabar. Cross River is in Cross River State. Yeah, we have Joanna from, I think, Akwa Ibom, right? So I will give Bello Abiodun the opportunity to ask his question. And before I go on to that, this program, we are trying to stream it live. I have checked the feed on YouTube, but it's not projecting. But what we want to assure that is that for people who want to have the slide or anything, we are going to make this video available on that channel Nigeria DH, or Digital Humanities Association of Nigeria, on YouTube, so you'll be able to have access to some of these things. But based on the discretion of the convener, you may or may not have the slide. So I want to unmute Bello Abiodun. Please introduce yourself and ask your question. Over to you. I'm trying to unmute you. I don't know what's happened. Okay. Just hold it. Okay. Bello, can you unmute yourself? I'm trying to do it. Okay, yes, please go on.
Yes, good evening, everyone in the house. I particularly want to thank the organizers of this conference. I want to thank, first of all, Professor Okpebi. I was at your office a short while before the lockdown. I was sharing with you a project I was having in stylometrics in world music. And you were about taking me to the center just a while before the coronavirus crisis came and disrupted a lot of things. I've been doing digital humanities for the past 1.5 years. I run a Yoruba culture and language-based website. And I had a very difficult challenge in November 2019 when I was trying to propose to one of the foremost newspapers in Nigeria, which clocked 70 years around November, and we're trying to propose to digitize their archive because they have some of the leading top-notch archives as far as Nigerian newspapers are concerned. But while they received our proposal a while before November, their 70th anniversary, in the beginning, there was this acceptance. There was this general feeling of acceptance that they loved what we were about to do for them. And we helped them to understand the value in digitizing their archives for scholarship and patronage across the world. But then suddenly there was this skepticism that we might hijack the entire project and therefore putting them at economic disadvantage as far as their labor of many years were concerned. So my question here is, seeing that a country like Nigeria, it was good to see from your slide, sir, what is being done already in South Africa as far as newspapers and the tabloids are concerned. So my question here is that, with respect to African countries, how do we ensure that the discourse of digital humanities is taken out of the confine of academic discourses alone, the four walls of the university, to mainstream the same, therefore winning the confidence and creating awareness, in society? How do we ensure that DH is mainstreamed for the benefit not only of academic scholars, but of society at large, where organizations and governments, and the civil society is concerned? So this is my simple question. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bello. Now let me invite Dr. Yeku from the US to please respond to that.
Well, thanks for the offer to enable me answer this question. I'd like to thank Dr. Bello and of course every other participant for being here. I'm excited to join and I'm really hoping to learn a lot just listening to people. I think the question is an important one that speaks to anxieties in relation to copyrights and ownership, the politics of ownership, and of course also what it means to honor local communities who produce the data we use when we try to initiate digital projects. My sense of this is that we need to keep in mind the importance of a collaborative approach that is based on honoring communities. If local communities understand that the data they provide will represent their voice, in a lot of ways, they might be able to, to go along with the project. My sense of this is that there will always be bureaucratic issues to contend with as we seek to create a digital project. But generally, an archive is not an individual collection, since we're understanding an archive to be something that is communally driven, communally sourced. They want to ensure that those from whom these materials have been collected are involved, not just only in the process of supplying these materials, but also in the process of digitization itself. So what I always tell people, and what I've learned, what I've seen in terms of practices by colleagues around the world is an approach to digital projects that recognizes the agency of the community that supplies this material. So in the case of this particular organization, Dr. Bello speaks about, there's nothing, the fears, and these are legitimate fears, right, of these people. But what are is assuring them copy ownership belong to them, strongly commit to honoring their presence in this project. So this is not just about the supply the digitization project and that's the end of the involvement. I think a better approach is to consider how all through the process their presence is well asserted, and I think it speaks to what Professor Kwebi mentioned earlier in terms of collaboration. Those who do digital humanities do not just collaborate among themselves, but they also collaborate with communities. And if communities can gain our trust, that their voice and their presence are not erased, because one are not erased in our digital project, that we may find some luck. Finally, the issue of decontextualization comes to mind. Communities do not want to feel a sense of erasure in the digital work or digital the digital objects that is eventually created. In the case of a digital archive, we want to have a sense that the original context is not lost. And the best way to do that again is just to make sure that we carry the community along in an ethnographic way that recognizes their voice and agency. We're not just academics looking for materials and then discarding those who provide these very invaluable resources. We're people who are partnering with local communities and honoring the resources they give us. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Thank you, Dr. Yeku. If you look at our schedule, we are far ahead of. We are far below what where we're supposed to be. But I think it is better to allow people to ask questions than rushing things. I'm sure that data is live and is kind of expensive in many parts of the world. But I think since we are here, I think we should just allow people to ask their question. But if you have not asked your question and you have not signified before now, you will be given the opportunity later in the program. So let's take Dr. Ruth Oji now from Pan-African University. Am I correct?
Dr. Hi, thank you very much. Yes, my name is Ruth Oji. That's O-J-I. Okay. From Pan-Atlantic University. Okay. Yes. Okay, so I'm a new timer, a first timer here, a newbie, and I've been interested in digital humanities, only I really haven't read up so much about it, or I see it as a way to go. So one question I would like to get an answer to, which I've earlier on imputed on the chat box, there is, how can I use this approach? I don't know, I see it as an approach in analyzing language in context, just like we do in pragmatic studies. I'm more of a language than a literature person. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I'd like to know, is there any connect? Is there a fine line between what we do in pragmatics and then in digital humanities? Or is there a way to merge both approaches so that one is coming out with research that is new, that is original, and that makes more sense, that is appealing, that is not the same kind of thing everybody is doing? Are there also works that have been done, for example, using the digital humanities approach on pragmatic studies, for example, or discourse studies, language studies, that one can read and be better enlightened? Those are my questions. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay. I will select people to answer the question, but may I just say that, well, DH is an interdisciplinary field that virtually everybody in the humanity and the social sciences is relevant. Okay, and there are a lot of tools that you can actually deploy to your analysis based on the theory or the data that you have at hand. For instance, there are open source tools that you can use for text linguistics, which is very popular among DH, especially in our own part. But some people like Fariola, as we listen to him much later, will see that some DH scholars, they are now going into building their own program kind of that can actually analyze which the particular kind of data they have at hand. So it is a very open opportunity for you to deploy DA tools to analysis in pragmatics and other spheres of social sciences, and then the humanity itself. So may I just speak on Dr. Richard to give a little input into that?
James,
I'm coming to you, Prof. I'm coming to you, sir.
James. Hello?
Okay, back to Prof. The person I wanted to talk has declined. We hold you in your breakout room. So, Professor Paibi, to you.
Okay, Ruth, thank you very much. We welcome you to the platform, and we appreciate your interest.
Thank you, Prof.
Yeah, I mean, we have quite a number of, as James has already explained, we have quite a number of tools that we can also we can use to analyze data. Now, let me give you an example of what you can do. It's called keyword in context analysis. You have a data, you are trying to look for a pattern in your data, and you are trying to see how that pattern connects, okay, and how that actually bring out the meaning of what you are looking at. Now, let me give you an example. For instance, you are looking at Wole Soyinka's novel, and you are trying to find out some keywords and how they occur in different contexts and what they mean. So we have some tools that can actually assist you to do that. And well, a number of us have done some works in that. So I think James we can supply you some of the references that you can actually read up. And of course, if you Google search my name online, you can actually have access to some of the things I've done in this area. I think that would be of help to you and to others who actually see how they can use these tools.
Thank you, Prof. And Dr. Rutoji, thank you for your question. If you go through our charts, you see that some tools are already put out there for everyone to copy and try to see. There is Voyant Tools, there is philocomp.net. Adcon tool will be put up there, and a whole lot of them that we can actually deploy to our analysis. Okay, so I think Damilola Adegoke wants to say something. Damilola Adegoke, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, thanks to that. I just want to call the attention of somebody who asked a particular question on the chat box just now, but it's something that I think we'll find very useful. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So a very good one is, I would want to commend you guys. I don't want to go over it again. I would talk more later on after this program. But what I want to say quickly is I can see that I've seen a lot of people asking questions about how to use digital humanities for their various works and what have you, and various tools have been suggested to them. But I would rather advise that maybe, I don't know if you guys have it like as a plan, that you organize series of maybe seminars on specific methods or selected digital humanities approaches, so that people can be familiar with this. Because if you just ask people to go and use tools without really understanding how to go about it, it's just like handling them a flight manual. If they're interested in flying, just straight at them and say, go and learn how to fly. So it will not really go well. So I would pause for now.
Okay.
Very good work.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Daniel.
Could I just offer a quick response,
okay.
James?
James,
yeah, I think Damilola makes a very important point. And one way to address that is also to ask people not to allow some of these tools and platforms their interests. One good thing is that many of these tools and platforms come up with documentation, some form of guide to help you use the tools. The first thing you need to do indeed would be to go on the platform themselves and see the documentation provided, and then you learn. But if you have to wait till you really get a sense of the tools and the platforms, you may never get started.
Okay,
always knowing that they have some forms of document for you to guide your work.
Okay. So thank you, James. I want to say that we should reserve the remaining questions that we may have. As the program progresses, you begin to get answers to your question, because this is just one part of the discussion. So now we'll go over to Cameroon as we listen to Igwe Emmanuel. Dr. Igwe, are you there? Igwe Emmanuel, are you there? I hope the network. I'm trying to see. Yes, he's there. Please, can you be louder? I can see that you are talking, but I can't hear you. Can you? Maybe remove the headphone. Let's see whether your PC will work without the headphone.
It won't work because
yes, it does.
Ah, it does.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. So it looks like I've missed the time. I'm very sorry. I can't believe it. Yes. So let me just share my screen with you, and I can start, please. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, just a minute, please. I'll be there. So let me yeah. Oh. Can you see my screen?
No.
So I am being told that James, that you or someone deactivated the screen sharing option. Please, can you check on your side? Hello? Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, but yeah, I'm sorry, the sound quality is really very bad. Okay, so okay, so if you can hear me, then I can start presenting. I hope I will keep with you till the end. Some ideas, my research about DH
harnessing the potential of indigenous
cultures.
languages in linguistics.
Oh, okay. Perhaps some of us should turn off their microphone because there is a sound interference. So okay. So I'm going to talk to you about harnessing the potential of indigenous knowledge in linguistics and cultural research in Africa using digital methods. Okay, so I am building from, let's say, from a fact that everybody is well aware of, which is that the knowledge which is produced in Africa is not very audible, at least from what I know, from my experience, from what I know. If you look at the citation trend in our own works as African scholars, our references, our major references, whatever the field of study you take, are heavily pointing towards external sources of knowledge, which is the West. Well, of course, this could be accounted for by many factors, maybe historical factors, economic, but this is, to me, very striking. And as a linguist, this is something that I've seen really enduring, because if you look at linguistics research papers, and this is a study that I conducted, I've not yet published it, I was able to see that averagely 80% of the sources of our references are external. So people out of Africa talking about languages of Africa, which we are constantly citing as references, even though we, as the speakers of these languages, as members of these speech communities, could be in a better position maybe to talk about these languages. So this is something that perhaps most of us would agree on. And this runs ironically with a historical precedence, which is that Africa is a land, is a continent of diversity. And we know from, evolutionary theories that diversity in human behavior is a testimony of how, how resourceful a people have been
is your laptop full?
With their environment, in responding to the challenges of their environment. So we could easily see in the diversity, cultural and linguistic diversity of Africa, I would say a mine of responses that our communities, our ancestors have kept providing to the challenges which they were facing. So, but even though we are host to this wealth of solutions, to this wealth of historical experiences, I think we have not harnessed, we have failed to grasp the rationale to take full advantage of these responses and to translate them into nowadays responses to modern problems. So as much as I know, knowledge and science, for that matter, is nothing else that endeavors by humans to grasp with, the rationality of their existence, understanding who they are, in which world they live, in order to provide solutions that occur as a result of their interaction with that world. So maybe this lays the ground for some of the discussions that I intend to lead from this point. So as you can see, I've prepared a very short presentation consisting of 9 slides. And just to warn you, it has started raining here, and every time it starts raining here, power goes off. So if you if you can't see me, just notice, just be aware that maybe power has gone. So I'll try to be fast for that matter. So I'm asking my questions. I'm asking this question. So why is it that whereas Africa is host to these worlds of experiences, as I've just mentioned, we are still lagging far behind in terms of providing or being part of the society of knowledge, of the knowledge market. And I'm tempted to believe that perhaps we are looking at our world from the wrong end of the binocular. We are looking at our world from an end which has been given to us, which has been presented to us. Just to draw from a common social experience, that is game. Most of our societies have games, traditional games, so they are called. So this is a very interesting citation that a teacher, a French teacher who was teaching in Cameroon in the 1971, and who was a mathematician teacher. So this is an interesting reflection or observation which he has made as a result of studying these, these traditional games. He said, games and particularly Cameroon, and I've put in bracket African strategic games, can help to understand many mathematical notions. Okay, when you look at it, I'm a professor in a teaching school, and I'm heading a department of Cameroonian languages and culture. And as I blame our, let's say, our resentness to embrace our solutions, I am blaming myself as a faculty member, as a head of department, for not being able to instill these dynamics to harness, again, the power of our knowledge. So this is something that I never heard throughout my scholarship. I was never taught, let's say, the logics. I was not taught, I'm being told that my connection is getting very bad. So others tell us about the power of what we have, but we fail to capitalize on it. And if you look at this, if you click on this link, if you copy this link, you will see a very interesting video about the origin. And this is a video made by a very famous mathematician who conducted research about the history of computing, and eventually he ended up concluding that the origin of the computer, which is the binary code, because the binary code is behind the power of computation, of being able to process.
Unfortunately, it seems we will not be able to continue with Ingwe because of the network challenge that it might be going through now. Okay, he's still here, but let's wait a little and see if he's able to join us. If not, we'll just go on with the next thing. Let's just wait. Okay, I think we cannot go on with him because of network. Anybody can be disconnected, and that's one of the challenges of doing DH in Africa. we planned everything and we tried to start on time, but by the time it was almost the time for us to hold the session, network started misbehaving, and that was why we couldn't start before 5:30, and now we are running behind schedule. So now, our next session is a breakout session. Just like we do at conferences, it's a different groups where you are able to meet with colleagues, and then you are able to share your views, ask questions, and then someone will be there to guide you. We did ask before in the email we sent out that you should signify if you want the room you want to be or that you want to stay in. But I see that not every one of us wanted to do that before the program. So may I ask now so that we can assign the room, or we just make the room, we just take the room into 2 instead of having 5 rooms? Because what we discover is that there are some rooms that we have only 1 person. And so what it means is that we are moving those in room 5. You still discuss that in addition to whatever you are discussing in that group. And we just have 10 minutes to do this. So we are moving those in room 5, that is Augustine, Fariola's, and Leijok's group. We are moving them to DH and Corpus Construction. We take them to, yeah, I think they should be there. So, and then it will be left with 2 groups. Then we move those in group 3, DH and Cultural Heritage, to join those in group 4. So you can just signify so that we can quickly do that now. Felix, I hope you are doing that at your end now. All right. So can you signify the group you want to be?
Yeah.
So we have a group 4. Can you please mute your audio if you are not talking to us? So should I just push you into any group, or we just leave some people out here while we move some into the group? Dr. Yeku, what do you have to say? There are some who have signified to be in that group. Dr. Lamidi Dayat, can you speak?
Yes, I think I can. Can you hear me, please? For freshers, which of the rooms is suitable? Because I don't really know which one to join now.
Okay, so Felix, how are you going to sort it?
James, I don't know what people think, but why not have people whose first time it is with DH in a group?
Okay.
And others who are already familiar with some of these things, you want to discuss specific issues like archiving and probably digital literature analysis, you probably want to be in some other group. And then you need to also explain the modalities of this. How does this work? Do I have to accept how do I migrate from this particular session to a group? I think you may have to explain that to us too.
Okay, well, now we are going to review. Yes, Felix.
Please check your box. Check your box.
Me?
Okay, Felix, what do you have to say?
Your chat box so that you could pick those groups as James.
Okay, he's telling everybody to check the box, but we are going to just leave it into, we are going to make the groups, we are going to break into just 2 groups. So those who are already familiar with DH and those who are not all that familiar. So we just have group 1 and 2. So can you please signify? Okay. Okay, should I do a roll call? For beginners, we have group 1. For those who are already familiar, we have group 2. So should I do a roll call? So you just respond and okay, for those in group 1, we are very large, so it's not very easy to do. But I think we'll still have to do that. All right, so I'm moving people into groups now. So you just find yourself in a group, and then I'm just using my discretion now. Okay. So a moment, please. And then we'll give you somebody to coordinate the group. Dr. Damilola Adegoke, I'm moving into the first group. Okay. So we have just 10 minutes for the group. We have so many messages. If I continue to read the message, Fariola, I'm moving into the group, and then I move Lietu into the same group with you. Dr. Yeku James, I'm moving into that group. So I want to just break it into 2 equal numbers. So Indubusi Martins, Ojiri Aboyi, and so I'm moving into that group. So then we leave the remaining in the other group. Okay, Senior Ajiboye, and then one other person. Okay, so I am moving there.
I'm not in any group yet. Or?
No, I'm trying to do that. So have you got a notice? You must have got a notice now.
No, I don't have a notice yet.
I'm not in any group too.
Yes, I'm doing that. Just hold on.
Please put me in group 1.
Yet.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that.
Dr. James.
Yes, please.
Dr. James.
Yes.
Hello, James.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Please put me in group 1.
Yeah. I will put you in.
James, I think I'm supposed to be in group 2, right?
Yes, I can move you out of group 1. Don't worry.
I'm not in my group.
No,
James,
just hold on.
Please.
I'm doing that. Just hold on. You get it now.
Which group am I in? Ndubisi.
Yeah. Okay, so you see yourself in the group now. Okay.
What group am I in, Dr. James?
Just hold on.
Right.
Open. I'm opening the group now. So you should see a notification to join.
Dr. James.
Yes, Simeon Adeboye.
I think I'm supposed to be in 2.
Don't worry, I'll take you out.
All right.
Please, I'll prefer group 2.
Okay. The name?
Hello, James. Please, can you move me to group 1 instead of 2?
Are you in 2?
Okay. Yes, that's what I saw. Archives and what?
Okay, I'm moving you. I'm moving you.
Be there.
I've moved you. I've moved you. Okay, so we have just 10 minutes for it's just for us to deliberate and meet others.
Please, I'm not in any group, please. Which group did you add me to?
Okay, let me see. Who is speaking, please?
Is Ada?
Okay, just hold on. I'll see that.
Ada is the one talking.
Okay, don't worry. I want to see which name. Please speak again. Ada. Okay.
Ada Nyachebelu, yes.
Yes, I've seen it.
Thank you.
Okay, there. Ada. I'm wondering. Ada.
Dr. James.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. James.
I can hear
this
you.
This is Evelyn Inofomo Evelyn.
Okay.
Please add me to group 1.
Are you already in group 2?
No. I'm just coming in. I don't even know.
Okay. Dr. Rutoji, you have not joined any group. So should I move you to 1?
Yes, I would like to stay in 1.
Okay.
1 works for me, I think.
Yes. Kariela Mustafa.
So James.
All right, Dr. James, please add me 5. I mean, 5.
Group 1 or 2?
5.
Huh?
5.
We have broken it into 2 groups instead of
which groups, sir, please? I up to
one for those who are just joining us, and the other for those who are already familiar with DH. 2 is for those who are familiar with DH already. So
okay, you should just join either 1 or 2.
So are you very familiar?
A little bit familiar, not too familiar though.
Okay.
So maybe I stay in group 1.
There is somebody that is Galaxy X7. I don't know the name.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Dr. James.
Dr.
You have
James,
not put me in
please.
any group.
I'm searching for you.
Group 1.
I got the notification for group 2.
Okay, don't worry. If you have any issue, you can actually move out of the group and come back to this platform. Then I'll be able to. Dr. Idaya, you are in group 1, going for group 1, right?
Yes, group 1.
Dr. James.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. James, you were asking for somebody in with X7.
Yes.
I'm the one.
Group, what do you want? 1 or 2?
1.
Okay.
Hello, Dr. James. Please, can you put Okide Ujubongo in group 1, please?
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, please. Okay. Please let me quickly do the okay. I'm trying to see him. Okay. Okide. Group 1, right? Yes.
Yes, group 1.
Yes.
Hello, Dr. James.
Yes. Mataisi.
Yes, put me in group 2.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, any other person? Simia Chipoye wants to be in.
I'm still here.
Oh, Dr. Ruth. Oh, no, not you. Okay, sorry. Ruth,
please move me now. I'm sure they're already talking plenty things and I'm missing.
Yeah, moved. Accept.
Okay, Dr. James, please.
Ariola wants to be where?
Group 5, please.
Okay, I've moved you.
5.
Yeah, I'm still here.
No, we have Cariola. We only have 2 groups.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, 1 is okay. Thank you then.
Yeah. Rutaji not yet moved.
Yes, I'm still here.
You are in group 1 already, but you have not joined. You have not clicked.
How do I join?
Okay, let me do this.
How do I join?
You have received a notification. Look at your screen.
I only received a notification for group 2 when I said I didn't want to.
Okay. No, you are in group 1. You are in group 1. Check. Just join. If I will move you back. Yeah. Just click that. I'll move you back.
Sir, please, I have not really received any notification.
And that is who?
Ada.
Okay, sorry.
Ada Anachevel. I have not received any notification.
Okay, just hold on, please.
Dr. James, please, this is Ganiat. Can you move me to group 2?
Yes, I moved you now. Check your stuff. Is it 2 I moved you or 1? I moved you into 1, but don't worry, I will take you out. Esther Jiboy should be in 2. Ganiat. Okay. So, Bat, are you there?
Hello, sir.
Oh, Christabel.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Please, can you move me to group 1? I'm having issues joining them.
Okay. Now, group 1.
Hello, my name is Mosumola. I already indicated that I would like to join group 2.
Christabel, okay, Mosumola, I'll be with you now. But Christabel, I have moved you to group 1, so you need to click on your system and then get moved. Mosumola, you want to join group what?
Group 2.
Okay. Mosumola, okay. Mosumola, click on your screen, you'll be moved. Ebin Abua, you didn't signify, so I don't know where to move you, actually. Mosumola, you are in 2, so they are waiting, the system is...
I'm not, okay, I'm yet to see the invite. I'll click on it once I see it.
I can see that you have not joined. Just try to click it on your end. Okay, gone. Mosumala Diojo, are you there?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay,
let me move.
Yes, I'm moving now. Thank you.
You've got it.
Yes, thanks.
Ebim Abua, are you there? Ada Wale Oladapo.
I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, please. Where should I move you? Do you want to remain here?
Yes, I indicated earlier the textual analysis group.
Okay. I'm trying
Hello,
to...
sir. Please, you have not moved me. You have not moved me, Ada. Oh.
Oh, God. Okay. Esther should be in 2, but in 1. I'm looking for
still waiting. No.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, Esther Ajiboye did not join anyway. I'm trying to look for it. Ada. Yes. It seems I want to check. It seems I've moved you. It's only you. You just have to click something on your end. Have you seen what to click? Ada?
I have not.
I can't even find your name. That's a challenge now. Okay. Ada Anya. Unfortunately, I can't find your name. Which group do you want to be at?
Group 1.
Honestly, I'm searching for your name. The group seemed to be going off in some few seconds, and all of them will meet us here. I think the group is over now.
Oh my God. Oh, so
don't worry. Oh, because in the process of doing it, we
It's right. We are back. James,
yes, you are. Okay. So how was the experience? I couldn't even join any of the group. I was busy trying to put people in groups.
It was a nice one. So people are coming back now.
Okay. Okay, so let's just wait for them a little more, and then we continue with the program.
It's okay. They are returning from the breakout sessions now.
Don't worry. The lunch will be served virtually.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, so
James, can you go ahead? We have 48 in.
Okay, now thank you. All right. Welcome back from the group, and I hope you had a very good experience. And now we are just going ahead with the program because of our time. And then we are still lucky that the weather is good and the network is still fine. Leah, thank you very much for joining us from South Africa. And within that short notice, Fariola Austin from Birmingham University, UK. Thank you very much. So we are actually going over to Fariola Augustine for his presentation. So I'm sure that some of the questions that we have asked might get some answer from, I said I'm sure, and I said might. Well, we get some answer from Augustine. I don't want to give too much burden on you, put too much burden on you. So please, let's go ahead. Augustine, over to you.
Dr. James. Dr. James.
We are going ahead. Yes, can you send me a chat?
I don't know how to do that.
What's your name, quickly?
Evelyn Inofomo.
Oh, you are the one with Galaxy S7, right? Look at chat under your stuff.
Yes, I've been to that room 1.
Yes, the session is over, so we are back in the main group now. So so we are back.
What?
So we are back to the same group. I mean, to the central room now, so that we can continue the meeting. All right. So so let's listen to Austin from Birmingham University, UK. Austin, your audio is not on. Augustine, sorry.
Hi, everyone.
Okay.
My name is Augustine Pariola, and the title of the presentation to be given is Digital Humanities and Computer-Assisted Textual Analysis. And actually, I am in the area of textual analysis, and my current PhD work is actually working on textual analysis. And some of the data and some of the ways in which I share some of what I do is also through some online platform like afrothinkitry.com, and also a digital humanity project, which is Paint Me Black, in which I've been able to get data and analyze them in this form as visual. And presently, for like minds of digital humanity who are textual scholars, we actually have a creative techies forum where we all meet to learn programming languages in order to do some text analysis. Let's go to text analysis itself. The question that we first of all ask ourselves is, what is the data that we use in the humanities or in the digital humanities or the objects of our research? And if we accept that text is the data and that is the object of our research, then we'll come to realize that, as many scholars have actually argued, that whatever you are making your research on, whatever you obtain as your data is actually digital. Let it be text, let it be image, let it be sound, and whichever discipline you find yourself, if you don't start seeing whatever you are using for your research finding as data, it's going to be problematic. But if you see them as data, you ask yourself, what is the method, or what are the methods that I use to analyze this? And for the sake of this presentation, we notice that we are taking text as data. And if we talk about text as data, you ask yourself, where do I get text from? Maybe from the books that you read, by scrubbing from the internet, by collating whatever you obtain from questionnaires from people. And your job as a digital humanist, or a humanist will be to find a way to collate them together and ask yourself, what are the methods which method, or what are the methods I'm going to deploy in responding to them? On the slides, I have some kind of points highlighted from the work of some scholars based on their arguments on, should we accept text as data in the humanities, or how do we accept text as data in the humanities? And we have that. Why some scholars are saying, forget about it. Whatever you are doing, it's all about data, and humanists will focus more on text. And you ask yourself, what are the methods that I use to retrieve, to store, and to analyze those data? And that's one of the things that we take a look at. Presently, as someone has highlighted, where people have data that people analyze, or scholars analyze presently, are called corpus. Corpus would be like what Professor Kwebi has done on the corpus of political discourses. Corpus would be when you assemble things, or where we can say literature or text from that discuss a particular kind of a thing, and then you make it available online through, so we have a lot of corpus, we have British corpora, we have many other forms. So the research you want to do will affect the kind of corpus you want to look for. And a lot of, like for instance, someone asked in a previous session, where is the corpus for philosophy? There are a lot of corpus online, though the question may be, as a professor, the professor from Cameroon has actually highlighted, that do we have African corpus? And that's what Professor Pepe said they're currently working on. We also have what we call repositories. And that's where data that people have used or data that people have collected, they make it available. An example is that of Harvard Dataverse, which you can visit and actually get data for your own research in order to obtain information about a particular subject matter you want to investigate. We also have the re3data.org, where you can also check and look at what are the data do we have here, and can I get the one for a particular research. And then, so once you have data that there are still other ways in which you can get data. Some people want to be like involved in analyzing discourse in the social media, or you want to get evidence for your argument by relying on discourse in the social media. Twitter has been a very good tool, and based on its API or the way it's structured, they allow people to easily mine. And without knowing how to code at all, you can use softwares like our app that are available online, like Tutonomy, which you will get the slides, this PowerPoint, which you can use Tutonomy to actually see what's going on, what are they saying in Nigeria concerning Corona, what are they talking about generally, what are they talking about in other places, what's the dominant, and check the trends and be able to access the data. We also have the know your editor. We also have the audience. We have the audience. So you can use these ones or track my hashtag. You can use that one if you feel that you want to rely on obtaining data from social media. EcoSec is also available. But the method that scholars have actually encouraged, and which most scholars in developed nations, as well as developing nations, are using, is scrapping. It's doing it themselves, trying to get it done, trying to go online, code, instruct the computer, tell the computer what to get for you. It could be you want to scrap an entire website. It could be you want to get discourses on colonial matters that are available online. So with simple codes, you can actually get those things done. And there are a lot of tutorials online too that you can actually obtain. So that's on obtaining your data. Now, when you have your data, the question you ask yourself is, how do I analyze the data? Now, there's a chart here. That I've actually obtained from the work of Laura K. Nelson, and she actually gave this chart in one of our presentations, which I actually called. And the chart asks the fundamental question: when you have your data, now you want to embark on a research, and you have the digitized version of the data, what do you want to do with it? Now, these are question and answer, if and then. Now, you see from the chart, like if you start with, do I have a digitized text? And if your answer is no, then you can't do any form of text analysis. Just forget about it, because you have to have it digitized. Then if it's yes, then the question is, am I interested in the content of the text? Now, if the answer is still yes, then am I looking for specific categories or themes? Now, if the answer to that one is yes, you say ask yourself, if I'm interested in categories or themes, are the categories mutually exclusive? And if the answer to that one is yes, then you embark on the methodology they call classification. It's a form or is a method under textual analysis in digital humanities. Now, if you look at the other steps, you realize that sometimes if you say no within the progression, like let's say for instance, you have the digitized text, and you are interested in that, You can look at whether you're doing clustering, you want to do topic modeling, or you want to do dictionary method. So when you are now presenting the research, you'll be able to say, this is the method that you are deploying. And when you know the method you want to deploy for your research, you'll be able to ask, which tool am I going to use? And how do I embark on this? How do I get this done? Let's move to the next slide. The automated form of text analysis, like I collected some of the researches that people have been doing along that category. You realize that the dominant methodology that they use could be classification, dictionary method, difference of proposition. Maybe they are looking at writings in a particular century with the writing in a particular century, or we can take test frequency, you know, and we have clustering and topic modeling. Now, you will ask, what are all this all about? We actually address some of them. I want to take note of this. If we as scholars, as digital humanities who actually want to, we have text, we have newspapers, we have even written text that we can scan and turn to a digital form. Then when we want to bring out our research out as a research in text analysis, foreign scholars have already, in text analysis, have identified certain things which we take note that will make the work to be accepted. The first is the standardized, we have to standardize it. And what we mean, that's with regards to the text. So the text we want to use, if you're going to use Voyant 2, you want to use Antcong, you want to use many other tools, the text that you will use should be the same across all of them. If you want, so that you'll be able to confirm. If I pour maybe the work of Wole Soyinka or into, let's say, Voyant, the same work I can pour it into Anchor, the same work I can pour it into, or I can even interrogate with them directly with code. But you should make sure that, because they will ask you at the end of the day, if they want to review your research, that can you show us your data? And then it should be open. And when we talk about varied, it should be selected in such a way that you won't say, okay, we want to look at the use of certain words in a particular century, and you select just within a range of people. Maybe you want to do a survey in Nigeria, a digital humanities survey, or what happened in the Civil War. You have to ensure that you pick from all the sides and various tribe or ethnic group in such a way that whatever you come up with can actually be objective. Now, when we come to the analysis, you should be able to identify that this is the tool I want to use. And when you use the tool, you make it possible that it's replicable, that people can be able to now pour whatever or test run whatever finding you have come up with and be able to say, we have done it on our side. It's objective, is a little bit. We can also, and you say, okay, there's racism in American soccer, and you look at the way in which newspapers you have collected some newspapers that are talking about American players, and you want to look at the way they use certain words attached to blacks and the way they attach it to whites. You'll be able to, when you have that done, you'll be able to ask yourself various questions. Do I provide the data in a varied way, in a replicable, in a standardized way, that other people will accept the finding that I come up with, as Rockwell did in the book Hermeneutical? They were able to defend that, there are racist words that are used towards American Black or African American players. Now let's go into what we call CATA, which is computer assisted text analysis. As I explained earlier on, you can do text analysis even without using computer. Like some people want to sit down and count the number of times Chinua Achebe mentioned Okoko in Things Fall Apart. So they can sit down with it and be counting, but computer can do that. Or you want to look at how Quine used certain word, or how Edgar used the Zen, or you want to look at in history, you want to look at the understanding of certain concepts. So you can do that by counting manually, but that will take a long period of time. And what we now talk about is computer-assisted text analysis. Computer can help us. And how will computer help us? We should have it at the back of our mind that it's not the same thing as we are entrusting it to the hand of computer. It can give us formalized, or it can formalize our research in forms of visual representation. It can give us in front of quantitative way that you can say, it's able to count this out. And as T.E. Clement explained, that with most of those computer-assisted textual analysis technologies that we have, they help us to extract, count, stem, parse, disambiguate, collocate, contextualize. And when you start experimenting with some of them, like most of the scholars on the platform, most of them have listed some of those tools in the chat room. When you start experimenting with them, you come realize, oh, this thing are actually giving me what I want. So I'll move very, I will fast, and I'll move very fast now and jump some things in order to meet up with the time. Text analysis is for all disciplines in the humanities, because everything we do, whether we are comparing and contrasting, whether we are explaining, whether we are, whatever we are doing with any text in our hand, it's actually to arrive at meaning and interpretation. And that is essential to the disciplines in the humanities. And computers are available to do those stuff. Now, what are some of those tools that can be used? Most of the tools that I imagine under digital humanity often have what we call theoretical framework. Like the Stanford lab, which is the lab of some humanities scholars who are actually developing tools or doing some things to be able to show how we analyze text. They try to give a kind of a philosophical or epistemological idea underpinning their tool. And then we have two dominant views. We have that's being held by macro analysis by Matthew Joker, and then the popular distant reading by Franco Moretti. Now, distant reading, we can say distant when you are analyzing text using technology. Franco Moretti says what you are doing is you are reading to, but it's not the same thing as close reading that people have been doing without using technology. And the technologies that form under the heading of distant reading, as we know, Voyant is one of them. Voyant, you don't need to code. The Voyant tool is something, as Dr. James Yeakoor has also mentioned earlier on, that it has documentation. When you go online, you check Voyant, you see the documentation, you'll be able to practice, and it's so simple. Assemble the text that you have gathered that you want to analyze and put that into it. Another essential part is Tuple Porter, which I will explain today, Methodica, as well as the use of Python or R programming language for textual analysis. So this Voyant, you get Voyant, you pour whatever text you want to have inside it, it gives you this interface, and then you understand some of the interface, the function that this interface actually performs. It's like giving you multiple windows at the same time, but it will help you to actually generate the word cloud function, as well as keyword in context. You'll be able to see in which way inside this text as the author used the word man, like I just did for Stuma Theology, the work of Thomas Aquinas, the philosophical work, and I try to look at how did he use man and in which context, and then you type that. You can try that with any of the word. It also gives you visualization, as we have said, that what computers actually do for digital humanities is also, it gives them some kind of formalization, the kind of things that actually project to the listeners or the people who are assessing their research that is objective, or it has arrived through certain quantitative measure. We also have tables too being generated just with the use of that tool. And for me, I see the tool as a conglomeration of existing digital humanity tools that are available for people who don't even, any scholar who don't know anything about programming, and whatever you come up with, it will just be perfect as a work of digital humanity. Now, the other aspect I'm going to introduce Tuple Collection. Tuple Collection is a portal by Gregory Rockwell and Sinclair with other scholars. They assemble over 1,500 tools that are available for textual analysis. And when you open the tuple.ca, when you open it in your browser, the first window you see is this. And then you'll be able to see, what do I want to do? You know, we talk about the methodology you want to deploy when you have your text. Is it capturing? Is it collocation? Is it content analysis? Is it dissemination? You'll be able to ask yourself, what do I want to do? And when you click on that, it will show you available tools that that you can actually use. And we also have Methodica. Methodica was also developed by a philosopher, Gregory Rockwell, with Sinclair too, and it's open that if you want to contribute. Methodica is not a place where we have all the tools, but we have the recipe, as if you want to prepare a soup. So when you want to do a particular research,
you have 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes, please.
Thank you so much. So when you want to do a research and textual analysis, when you go to methodica.ca, when you say, for instance, you want to do machine compare text or do accurate analysis of sentiment, to tell you the ingredients, that these are the things, and to show you step by step how you will do that. So I have in the slides tokenization using LTK. So you have the recipe, like guidance and what you need to learn to be able to deploy this methodology. I also include in the slides links to where we can do that. Now, finally, I will introduce Python, and we have an ongoing, there are a lot of materials too online about the use of Python but if the tool cannot give you what you want, as many people have argued, most of these tools don't even understand Yoruba, Igbo, or Hausa, or understand most of the African language. You can also talk to the material yourself using Python programming language, or R programming language, who can help you to generate this sort of visualization too, as some of those tools also. And the beauty of Python, why I personally use Python, is you don't need to write a lot of things. With 2 lines of code, you can generate a lot of things, because it contains what we can say libraries or modules, codes that people have written for you, that you can just invoke and it will get it done. One of them is Mallet, the other is natural language, LTK, and then we have the beautiful soup and text block. And at this point, we may not be able to do justice within the time limit to how we engage or analyze this, but there are lots of materials online and you can always reach out. So we ask yourself, if you are not interested in most of all these things, don't feel left out. Digital Humanity is not just about building 2 things, according to Stephen Ramsey, but also includes those who theorize about the building, those who design so that others might build, those who supervise the building. So you can even call programmer, you can do collaborative work. You can say, you want to work on this, you know programming, let's work on this. You are a historian, I'm an archaeologist, you are a linguist, let's work on this together. So at this point, I say thank you very much for listening.
Hi, James.
Which of the James?
Sorry, I was speaking.
James
I never knew I was off there. Oh, sorry. I was talking and I never knew I was talking to myself. Okay. So I said that was a fantastic presentation by Augustine. I feel like not stopping him, but time is not our friend. But let me quickly make this announcement that some of the slides will be made available to us so that we can still interact with them, and then we'll get the author's contact so that you can get to them and ask additional questions as the case may be. So quickly, let's take Dr. James Yeku, who will be talking on the potentials of DH in Africa and impact to the world at large. Dr. James Yeku, please to you.
Where is James Yeku from? You need to tell us where James Yeku is from.
Well, Dr. James Yeku is from the Kansas University, United States of America. So So
I actually wanted to reply to Prof. that I'm Kuta. So I mean, that's probably more relevant. But really, just to say thank you to the organizers again and express my profound gratitude for the opportunity to be part of this. And I actually think also that Farila's presentation is really brilliant. Thanks, Austin, for that.
Yes, thank you.
I mean, I could as well just say there's nothing else to add other than my remit is a bit different. I said in the question, why does all of this matter? And why should we be interested in some of the details Austin and others have talked about? So what I want to do just very briefly is talk about what I think is the potential impact of DH in Africa. I've shared my screen. Can people see it?
Yes, James.
Okay, great, thanks. So basically, I'm interested in the question of praxis. What are the practical and pragmatic implications?
Make it a slideshow form. Slideshow. Make it a slideshow form.
Pragmatic implication of, sorry, 1 minute.
You have to go to slideshow and then you project it. Go to slideshow.
Just 1 minute, sorry.
Okay, fine, yeah.
So
yes.
My interest is to just think and reflect about the question of the what matter. And a good way to start is to think about another kind of pandemic. In addition to the pandemic of COVID, or everybody's familiar with the pandemic of police violence, and think of how people respond, for instance, to the question of SARS in Nigeria. And a lot of people come up with acts and use social media in a way that shows the importance of digital humanities more generally. So whether people are using hashtags to articulate outrage in regard to bring back our girls or roads must fall in South Africa, you have social media as an important digital space that affirms the importance of some of these conversations. But again, this is at the level of digital culture and the digital humanities as an object of study. I wrote a PhD on Nigerian social media in relation to its enabling of popular culture. So my interest is basically in terms of digital humanities from this perspective of an object of study, something you investigate. But in more recent times, I've also been applying digital tools to other humanities questions. And I'll probably talk about this in relation to, again, the question of impact. Why does this matter? Something that comes to mind very, very quickly is the unfortunate response of the Jonathan administration to the question of history as a subject in Nigerian universities. Everybody remembers when the government decided to prescribe the pedagogic transmission of history for secondary school students, and a lot of people thought that was outrageous. Now, some other people decided to go on social media to create platforms in which people can arrest this, what you might call unfriending of the past, using social media basically to offer projects and initiatives that document the past, keep historical memory alive. I mentioned this example just to say this is a good example of the intersection between the digital humanities and something that has an important public and scholarly value in terms of history itself. So if you go to the Twitter page of the Nigerian Nostalgic Project, or even the Facebook group, and I know a lot of you here may be members of these groups, you find people engaging with historical past in Nigeria, showing us how social media becomes an important archival location for the connections between history, Nigerian history in particular, and the digital humanities. Now, my question, however, has always been, beyond social media, what else could we do with the digital platforms? And how can we have impact in specific terms as people who are interested in the digital humanities? And I just said, I just tried to assert some responses, guesses, speculations to this question by foregrounding two things: the importance of connection and the importance of creation, right? So to have impact as DH scholars, I think we should be thinking more about, connecting with existing knowledge on global DH. And Austin has given us just a very thin slice of what might be available out there. There's the need, and I think this forum is also that kind of opportunity. People are interested in connecting with what's happening. There are lots of books and materials people can read. We can send out slides and links on startup courses people can do they're interested in the DH. I think Leah mentioned earlier the ongoing Harvard program on DH. I did that class and I thought it was brilliant. There are a lot of things we could do as a way of connecting with existing knowledge. Some years ago, I was thinking of a digital archive of the Ifa divination corpus. I said to myself, what exactly could we do with this vast epistemological repertoire of the Yoruba worldview? And I thought to myself, why not try to connect with the existing knowledge on this? So I looked for works done by Nigerian scholars on this. I found something by two UI professors, something they did many years ago. What I was doing was basically to try to not just connect with knowledge outside of Africa, but to look at what people within the continent are doing, because it is important, especially for visibility. Somebody mentioned earlier, I think it was Abiodun Bello, the Yoruba cultural and language project they were invested in. And I tried to look for it online, I didn't find it. As part of connecting with knowledge, it's also important that you think of how you connect with other people to make your work visible, to find yourself in a community of scholars who are interested in doing the kind of stuff you do. So there's the importance of connecting with existing knowledge. There's the importance of connecting with people who do the things you do. And of course, connecting just the network of other scholars and make your work visible. But I think what is even more important for me is thinking about connection in terms of connecting with those in communities beyond the university environment. And I'm thinking of Yabacon Valley. I'm thinking of those tech clusters and spaces you have in places like Yaba. People doing great stuff but do not consider themselves members of the academic community. It was Bello who also mentioned the importance of mainstreaming. I think there's an important, the proverbial connection between town and gown. This is where we need it the most. We need to connect with these guys that are in the industry, guys doing programming, guys creating digital presence that attract people like Mark and Twitter's Jack Dorsey. If these guys come to Nigeria to interact with these guys, with these local guys in Lagos and elsewhere, it's because they understand their global relevance as digital entrepreneurs and people who have things the world needs. The academic community, the academic DH community in Nigeria needs people like those guys in Yaba Tech in terms of connecting with them to foreground and articulate a strong sense of the relevance of what we do as DH scholars. Now, something else I think is important is not just to connect with existing knowledge, connect with others in our network, connect with ideas and projects that make what we do and our interests more visible. Something else we need to do is to also create our own projects. So social media has been the face of the digital humanities in Nigeria, and I think it's time we begin to look beyond social media. Now, I do not think social media needs to be spoken of in negative terms. Like I said, that's a fundamental object of study for me. But I think it's important we create projects, and in the process of creating projects, we'll probably make mistakes. We'll experiment with things. So this particular website, I call it the Chinua Achebe Digital Project or something. The Chinua Achebe Digital Archive. This was many years ago. I had this screenshot of it just for my own records. But the importance of this then for me was I was just thinking of creating something for scholars of Achebe who might be interested in having a platform online where everything about Achebe might be located. Of course, this did not work. I didn't really have the kind of technical skills I believe I needed to do this. But this was a WordPress-based website through which I just gathered stuff, basically. I was learning, I was trying to create something because there's the need to create knowledge. And of course, to create knowledge as somebody interested in DH projects, you'll have to create things, you'll have to create objects, you'll have to apply tools for your interest in knowledge production. And like other speakers have said earlier, we are in a moment where in order to arrest the epistemological crisis of the continent, we'll need to engage with technology. Now, I do think there's some kind of epistemic crisis in a country. You find a book on African studies, a book on Nigeria produced in London, and you can get it in Lagos. To address things like that, to produce knowledge about ourselves, to take our own culture, to take ourselves seriously as human beings who love knowledge for its sake. It's high time we began to think of what technologies can do for us. And one way to do that and achieve that is to create things, create works that people can find useful. So I think a year ago or 2 years ago, I decided to do something in relation to Nollywood. So through street photography, go around the streets of Lagos and other parts of the country and just photograph posters of old Nollywood films, new Nollywood films, and just try to look for archives that keep these posters. Why are posters important? I believe that you can talk about the history of Nollywood in academic conferences. You can write books, and many books have been written on Nollywood, but nobody pays attention to what para-tests like a poster, para-tests such as posters may do, especially in terms of helping people understand the history of film or the video film in the country. This particular poster, for instance, Babasala, predates Nollywood. I was interested in bringing these posters together just to be able to think about how the material aspects of Nollywood's productions can help us understand the history of popular culture in Nigeria. So what I needed to do was to look for a data management software that allows me to some kind of public exhibitions, collect and curate these materials without necessarily having any expert knowledge myself. So what I've done, basically, I saw somebody post a YouTube link to the two voyants, and I said to myself, this is exactly what we need to do. Go on YouTube, go on Google. There are lots of things you can find that have been done already to help you understand these tools, and you just use them. So as part of creating this project, as part of for grounding the impact of DH project, I'm interested in not just connecting, but in creating. And to create, to look for existing tools, existing resources that can help you without necessarily having any digital knowledge or any previous technical skills yourself. Something else I thought I could do, and I started this recently, is to look at the popular nature market literature and think of the fact that the digital copies of this important source of African popular culture are located mostly in the West. So the Canadian Library at UI probably has materials and copies of these pamphlets. But what exactly becomes of them? If something happens to Connecticut tomorrow and these materials become vulnerable to destruction, we'll probably lose them. But if you go to Alberta, the University of Alberta, if you go to the University of Florida, if you come to KU, these universities have collections of the nature market literature. And for me, that's something that is painful, because I believe UI, Unilag, and some of these schools should be the original locations of this kind of works, because they belong to us. In any case, in terms of creating something new from this, I go to the University of Kansas collection, and I decided to use JQ, which is basically a tool that allows you to generate static websites. It's open source. It doesn't need any form of database, and it means you can easily transfer whatever you create through a flash drive from device to device. And what I'm doing basically is to do a scholarly critical edition of pamphlets. So I'm creating new editions of as many pamphlets as possible, trying to create an archive or a repository, if you like, of as many pamphlets as I can find as a way of providing more context, more nuance to the popular market literature. Now, what does this do? Why is this important? I think this is important because it helps people, it opens up the niche market literature to a new generation of people who you might call digital natives, people, or even new researchers of African popular culture. A lot of research from Obiechin in the 70s to what Stephanie Newell and perhaps Onokome have done recently capture the nuance of this important aspect of market literature or popular culture in Africa. But the thing is, could there be new insights into the niche market literature that the technologization, the digitization of these pamphlets can help us understand? So recently I read one of the pamphlets and I saw a variant of Nigerian Pidgin English that is no longer in use today. So what was the kind of Pidgin English spoken in the 60s? And why is that different? How is that different from what people speak today? That's just one example of the kind of research questions that can emerge from this. And I'm speaking, I believe, in respect to just the pursuit of knowledge for its sake. This is one example of a project I'm currently trying to create. This is not public yet, but the point of this is just to say that we need not just only to connect, but also to create our own digital works. And in that commitment, we're able to do something that makes digital scholarship on the continent more visible. The last thing
you have about 2 minutes more.
I'm actually done. No more slides. But the last thing I want to say is the importance of collaboration. I was happy to join this because I know that I'll listen to people like Austin, I'll listen to James, I'll listen to Prof, just to learn and to be part of what people are doing. If you really are interested in doing DH work, at some point you know that you will have to collaborate with people. And that's why mentioning those at Yabacom, the guys in the tech clusters, bringing them to the campus, those are the kind of things I believe we need to do. Some months ago, I was on Facebook just to chat up Austin to say, I want to do this, I want to do that. I want to do a digital map of police killings in Nigeria. What can we do? And we shared some ideas. We need to connect, we need to create, and we need to collaborate. That's the point I'm making. And why all of this is important is that I do think we have an epistemic crisis on our hands. If knowledge about ourselves is only produced by outsiders, then we are not taking ourselves seriously. And I don't say this because I'm outside of the continent, whether I'm outside or inside, this is the same point. My interest in all of this started back at UI with Shola Loriyomi taking me to the Kennedy Library, showing me a map of 16th century Africa and how the map was lying somewhere in a very poor condition. I said to myself, no, we can't do this to ourselves. So all of this matter because we want to address a crisis of epistemology, and digital technologies will help us to do that. I thank you for your time.
So thank you very much, James. That was very good too. You agree with me, our participants out there, that we are really having a nice time. And then I'm sure that many of us, we want us to continue this discussion. One thing that I'm surprised about is that we hold on. And that is to me to show that we are very much interested in this scholarship. And if there is anybody that is more encouraged than for the little effort we are putting into this, I am very encouraged. So thank you very much, Dr. James Yeku, for your presentation. So quickly now, Walia, I don't know if you are there. I want to do a little thing against the program. I don't know if that is okay by us. I think we have 2 questions from the audience before the final moment. I think it is good that we just allow questions to be asked from the three presenters before we go on to the next person. The next person is just an interview, and he will tell us his experience based on something that we'll get to know about very soon. All right. Do we have anybody with question?
Yes,
question? Okay.
Yes,
please.
Great Olutayo.
Okay, please go ahead, ma'am.
I asked a question from Fariola, directed at Fariola the other time, when he was talking about the need to digitize our data. So my question is, how do you digitize a spoken data?
Audio format, no? I think.
Indivisi, do you have a question? Martins?
Did you get my question, Dr.
Yes, how do you digitize
a spoken data?
A spoken data. Okay,
Yeah.
let's have our presenters tackle this question.
James, maybe I should add my own question as well.
Okay. Please go ahead, Dr. Aja.
Yeah. Yes. I've already congratulated Austin, and I also thank James Yeku for the presentation. It was quite stimulating. I would want Austin to, although Austin does not have a bias in literary studies, I guess my question is going to be, I'm sure it's not going to pigeonhole him, but the area of that has been actually a sort of a problem to the application. He does what is, he gave an expose more or less on kata. I do what I call kala, literary analysis. And the problem we have been having, especially with the West, even when you want to be Afrocentric, you will find out that now with variant with other digital tools at our disposal, and then you just do garbage in, and at times you garbage out. It does not give room for theoretical backgrounding, which necessarily that makes literary works. And so, how do you, especially for those of our the new entrants, our colleagues that are just trying to embrace the digital humanities, how do you marry the two? Do you think there is still a space for theoretical grounding when you use digital humanities? It has been a question that have raised a lot of those as regards. Followed argument of some French scholars in digital humanities, British scholars in digital humanities. It appears that there is everyone does what it seems that is right. Austin, if you can, I think you can give some illumination on that. That will help. Thank you.
James, somebody is raising hands. I mean, one Afis.
Okay, Afis Sufi.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to just give room for two questions, but you can go ahead.
Okay. My question goes to the last speaker concerning the epistemological problem that we are having. So what is the solution that we think we can do to it?
Okay, so Dr. Yeku and Fariola, over to you. Thank you.
Fariola, please go ahead.
Hello?
Dr. Yeku, do you get the question?
I got a question, but I think Fariola should go first.
Okay.
Okay, to the first question, I am not actually an expert, but I've been observing the practice of digital humanities in Nigeria since Professor Kwebi started the summer school. And there is a lot of people who are in language studies and who presented papers. And I asked them, like I asked a particular doctor from UI, that what are the challenges you have faced? And he actually expressed the idea of using the tools that are available to translate audio to text. He actually expressed the frustrations because sometimes maybe the way you pronounce the English, it does not even understand, it type rubbish, or it doesn't even understand the language or terminologies and concepts, or the way the programmer has developed it, it does not understand the syntax of how we arrange or how, so they actually talk about when they were doing oral interviews and doing all sorts of things. So I can tell you that maybe there is no tool specifically, because for us to have a tool at the last Digital Humanities conference in Lagos, there was a young programmer who talks about, is developing a kind of, first of all, developing a database in which we're able to, first of all, have all our dictions, all our whatever inside it, because the computer is not like a human being who understands the way we are talking now. It has to pick from, based on what the programmer and pick. So basically we have that, and I presented that, I proposed that as a presentation at the Digital Humanities conference is supposed to have in Canada this year. I talk about it as the challenges of optimization, which I actually received questioning, but the reviewers, some of the reviewers surprised me because they sent me feedback that, you know, that you can develop your own, or people are developing, because I itemize some of what people have complained about. Talking about, so for me as a person, I still believe that we have to go back to programming. We have to, as Dr. James already explained, we have to look for collaboration, or else this is actually like a dead end. And I'm so happy, like what Professor Kwebi is already doing, the digitization, we rely so much on it. And as Dr. Richard mentioned about the optimization, I would say that the way forward is Python or our programming language, or we just need to, because you can now be able to now say what you want and it gives you back. And that's just the way forward till we get ourselves to develop us or frameworks that respond to our challenges.
Let me add to that, Austin, and say that to just think about the fact that a program, a platform, or a software is unable to read your accent or your speech style is indicative of another kind of politics, another kind of epistemological issue. And we can talk about that in some other platforms. But I mentioned that to say something. The Digital Humanities does not pretend that there are issues of biases and politics that are associated with technology. And it's important we know this. But like Austin was getting at, that particular question of speech to text raises the importance of developing our own tools. I would rather create a digital object that addresses a question than go about screaming racism or biases. So the thing is, we need to invest in digital technologies. We need to invest in platforms and tools that do what we do. So the other day, Google came up with projects that allows Nigerian road users to get the descriptions in Nigerian English, and a lot of people celebrated that. I thought that was good, but we cannot always wait for people like Google to do these things. Take ourselves seriously as a people and invest in these technologies ourselves. If the government will not do it because of their attitude to infrastructure, digital infrastructure or analog infrastructure, let's support the private individuals who are doing this. How do private universities in Nigeria transition because of COVID from face-to-face interactions to online teaching? Some private universities, how do they do it? How do you have a Covenant University running and you have many private churches online and the government cannot be online? All of these have a lot to do with an attitude or infrastructure. There are private entities like churches, some universities, not all of them, private individuals like the guys here, but who are doing things. And I may not like their politics, I may not like their ideologies, I may not believe in God, but they tell me something. The private individuals are all over doing things and we need to look to them. So like the young man Fariola mentioned, what are these guys trying to develop things for ourselves? So we need to celebrate them and support them.
James.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I wanted to actually respond, but before I collaborate with what you are saying, I would want Austin to, as regards the question on the language, I think here, Prof, the James and the rest of those that we are in Netherlands, we were with Moses Ekmenyon, Moses Ekpenyong here, as regards your language as a dialect, has developed. Moses actually has a bias in computer science here, and is here in my university, University of Uyo. And so his PhD thesis was actually on that, speech synthesis. And exactly when he came up with the fact, it is possible now to what she is talking about, actually in Ibibio, and the research of Moses is very obtainable. And so it is just like what you said, the gown actually collaborating with the town. I think the problem we have, James, I think the problem we have here is the lack of sensitization as regards DH. And a lot of our institutions and universities might not necessarily, because to get the capacity, at times is very costly. And like I told Tunde the last time, how we struggled to be able to attend the Digital Humanities conference in Digital Humanities Summer School in Oxford. Our university blatantly refused to sponsor us. And so I think that is very important for us, since it is possible, like I was trying to get a digital tool on, so I had to collaborate with somebody in computer engineering. And so we are just here at the kindergarten of the development. But I felt that Austin said, I will not be able to. I think Python, the name that was given Python is actually creating a sort of phobia to me. In order to break through, what I did was to call my guy. I said, look, we can collaborate. And the guy is so happy. He's so happy. He told me there's nothing. And so we are just at the trying to see what to do to finish up the digital tool. I think even though our institutions don't support us, with the support from the private sector, it will be possible for us to push DH in Nigeria and Africa to a bit. We may not be where we wish to be. Certainly, we will not be where we have been. We're making a movement.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Can we just move in 1 minute? Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Aja. We are really far behind schedule, so we quickly rush what we have to do. I'm sure that this program is going to continue, but before I go on so let me just make this announcement again that some of the slides of the presentation for today have been uploaded in a Google Drive for DH, Digital Humanities Session's email address. So you can see the link on the chat. Please go to the chat and see. In case you don't know how to do that, you may send us an email, but some of them are there already. So then quickly, I want to take on Walia Joanna. I hope I'm correct. And then I will allow Professor Kwebi to do a little introduction of who Walia is and why do we want to take him at this time. Thank you, Professor Kwebi.
All right, thank you, James. Well, I think what we are trying to do is just to inspire other colleagues, especially junior colleagues, that all you need to do is to try. All you need to do is not to just sit back, is to make sure that whatever we are learning, we are putting that to practice. Walia started attending a summer school, I think 2017, so he was with us twice. And then each time he came, he always go back and then, he would be trying his hand on these tools, applying them to research projects. And I've been following and monitoring his progress. And I'm happy to inform the House that, this young man has been doing a lot, and he just won an award. I think he will just talk to us briefly about the award and then how that happened, and then to be able to encourage others also that this is possible. What we are talking about is something that you can do, you can achieve once you put your mind there. Thank you. Is Walia online now?
Yes, I think. Walia.
2 or 3 minutes. Yeah.
Walia. Hello, Joanna Walia. I can see you in line just now.
Actually, he's been complaining about his ability to be able to. But if you can, no, I think you can post his interview on the platform.
Oh, okay, so what we do is that since we cannot get it now, we'll conduct an interview and then upload on that drive for some of us who are interested to listen and to watch and listen to him and probably get inspired. So having said that, quickly let us take Dr. Aja to tell us something about Digital Humanities Association of Nigeria. And then Prof, we also support that by telling us a few more things about it and the Center for Digital Humanities. Those are the two organizations behind this conference. You know, I am sure that to get this kind of a thing for free in this part of the world might be something not common. So let us listen to them. Just 2 minutes, please. 2 minutes. Yeah. Dr. Aja, over to you.
Okay. I think, I don't think I will have to use my slide, but we know there is no need if you have given us 2 minutes. Digital Humanities, Professor Kwebi, he has done a lot to have introduced the summer school that gave birth to the Digital Humanities Association of Nigeria, the acronym ADAN. Our registration process is actually on, and our vision is actually to get also registered to the Alliance, that is the ADHO worldwide. I think we should, the goal generally is the goal generally, our objective is just to galvanize scholarship and scholars in digital humanities here in Nigeria and also Africa, because there are actually some scholars in Africa that are part of Digital Humanities Association of Nigeria. And then what is our membership like? The membership is open. The membership ranges about 4 categories of membership. It's actually, you can see it, the website has it.
Dr. Aja, are you still there? Dr. Aja, what's happened? Dr. Aja? That might be network.
Okay, I think we should just, because we need to round off now.
The categories are well spelled out.
Okay.
James, I think we need to round off now.
Yes, we are running off now. So, Prof, can you just say a few more things concerning this?
What I have to say is thank everybody. I mean, I'm so excited. I'm so impressed. I'm so overwhelmed, and I'm so humbled by some of the kind words that you have said about us. And I want to actually inform you that actually this is collective. It's not Augustine, Fariola, all of them. They've been part of whatever we are doing in Lagos, and I'm happy that a number of mentees are going outside the country and they are doing quite well. So we are very proud of all of you. Dr. Yeku, we are proud of you. We are happy that you are putting your heart into this. You are putting your mind into it. You are putting your hand into this. I want us to just, you know, continue this way, work together, and then I'm sure that we can actually change the epistemological dysfunctionality that you know, we have discovered and we are worried about. But see, as Dr. Yeku said, we can't just do this by just talking about it. We need to do something about it. You need to invest in yourself. I won't be able to have time to be telling you about how this happened, but you know, we give God the glory. We thank people who have been supporting us. And summer school, fortunately, will be coming up this year again. But we're having problem with COVID, COVID-19. So we don't know the time yet. But we'll continue to update you. And then, of course, it's going to be very competitive because the funders are actually insisting that they want us to just support junior scientists, especially PG students. And then but we are going to fine tune whatever we eventually come up with at the end of the day. And so I want to appreciate all of you for coming, for attending, and I'm sure we've all benefited. I've learned quite a lot from Dr. Yeku, from Fariola, from all the presentation. I want to assure you that we'll continue to push the frontier. We're going to do our best, but please, let's just keep in touch and keep collaborating, keep discussing. Let the conversation continue on individual basis and then this collective, this general forum. And I can assure you that we are here to support you, to provide everything that, within our capacity to really, actualize your dream. So I thank you all for attending. We hope to keep having this kind of, interaction quarterly. So we'll update you on the next time we're going to meet online. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all.
Okay, so thank you, Prof. On that note, let me just say that
I can't thank you enough. I can't working day and night, round the clock to put this together. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. So I want to express my profound gratitude to everybody who has participated in this, because if we put this together and you didn't show up, we cannot have it. So we thank you for your data. I'm sure many of us are running on generator. Yes, excluding people like Yeku James, but we'll get better. Let's keep the discussion continued and then be so glad that at the end of the day, we can point backward and say that we have done something great for our nation. I don't want somebody to hold me by the road and give me a slap, and I would think it's a ghost that gave me a slap. So somebody has been trying to ask a question, to give a comment since. So please, I want to beg everybody, just in 1 minute, Ibukun Filani, can you please go ahead?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much.
So please hold on. Ibukun Filani is joining us from Hungary. So please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Dr. James and the two James, Professor Peibi. Thank you, everybody, and thank you for the opportunity. My comment emanated from the question on how to digitalize oral text, spoken text. I work on stand-up comedy, and I primarily work on spoken text. And my experience has always been that a good way to deal with the text is to have it digitalized, really. And some weeks back, or shall I say months now, I was in conversation with James, and we were talking about how we can generate a kind of corpus that will, a kind of corpus of stand-up comedy performances, and the corpus will just be like, we have a kind of method or mechanism which can pick up the spoken performance and then turn it to a text that can now be analyzed digitally. As it stands now, what is obtainable is that one listen and you keep listening and keep listening, and then you transcribe, and that is really, really a rigorous process, and that is what is actually available across the world when it comes to oral text, when it comes to digitalizing oral text. So that has been my experience on that, and I also think about the idea that Dr. Yeku James raised, the politics of technology. In Hungary, where I am now, currently, you can rarely find a computer or a laptop with an English keyboard. All right, you can rarely find a computer or a laptop with an English keyboard. All the computers you will find in all the stores are with the Hungarian language keyboard. So there is that part of politics of technology that I think our government is not playing, and it's there. And then I will also say that the good thing is that we have a conversation, and the conversation is such that it has helped us to keep the spirit alive and to think about the possibilities. For me, each time I have to do an analysis on stand-up comedy, I have to listen freshly to a new data. I have to transcribe, and it is a rigorous process. And then the other challenge is this. When you write something to publish, the reviewers do not know the kind of text you have dealt with. They only see what you have written, and then they do not know the kind of performance you are dealing with. Now, the challenge is this from my own experience. All stand-up comedians repeat their routines. So for instance, when I pick a particular performance to analyze and I want to expand the performance of that comedian, I'm likely going to meet the same material across 10 or 6 performances. So, I mean, definitely Digital Humanities is always to the rescue for us, and I think it's just a good way to go by. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you very much. One thing I've also seen here is that many people, just like Dr. Yeku was talking, some people are making suggestions on what you can do. For example, somebody said that you can actually translate with Elan and so on and so forth. So I would plead with us that when we have information like this, we can always send it to the email address that we have. And if you need anything on digital humanities, you need collaboration, you can send to info@dhnigeria.org or nigeriadh@gmail.com. So, and I'm sure that with that, we can continue the collaboration. Presently, we have a WhatsApp group, and I'm going to leave my phone number on the chat room. So, I'm going to leave my number there anyway. Then you can send me a request to be added to the WhatsApp group, and then so that some of this collaboration can continue. So for those who want to get certificate for participating in this, already a link has been provided. Some people have indicated interest. By the grace of God, latest by Saturday or Sunday, we'll get our certificate forwarded to us, and then every other information will get in touch with us via the emails address that we have used in this. So once again, I want to thank you for your attention, your patience, and then your contribution. So whether you have spoken today or you haven't said anything, for the fact that you are with us, we want to appreciate it so much. And we say, God will keep us safe from COVID-19 and every other disease. Thank you, and see you whenever we call again. Thank you. And then we want to end the meeting now. You are welcome.